everyone. I'm Dr. Ahalya. I'm working as a Managed Fellow and I'm honored to be with you today for today's session. And I'm delighted to welcome you to our 244 consecutive weekly webinars hosted by Managed Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship. So before going to the session, I want to give the short introduction about our center. So since October 2020, Manacia has been the forefront of agriculture innovation, hosting weekly webinars without interruption for 243 consecutive weeks. And we are proud that we have reached more than 50,000 participants through these webinars. So the sessions have served as a catalyst for knowledge exchange, networking, and transformation in the agricultural entrepreneurship. What begins as an initiative to support emerging agripreneurs has evolved into a powerful platform that has reshaped numerous agriculture ventures across India. So, as a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation operating under the esteemed National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, Manacia has established itself as a cornerstone institution in the agriculture entrepreneurship ecosystem. Our impact extends far beyond numbers. We have nurtured and guided 1,036 entrepreneurs and each with a unique vision for transforming agriculture. Successfully supported the establishment and growth of 495 innovative startups across diverse agriculture sector. We also facilitated access to crucial funding, technology, and market linkage for our incubators. So what truly distinguishes Manacia is our holistic approach to the entrepreneurship development. We understand that every entrepreneur who walks through our doors carries not just a business idea, but a dream with the potential to transform lives. Our commitment extends beyond business incubation. We are dedicated to nurturing visions that contribute to the agriculture sustainability, rural employment, farmer prosperity, and national food security. As part of Saturday webinar series, we are currently running a special segment on government schemes for agri startup. So far, we have covered RKVY-RAFTAAR scheme, Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, Mudra loans for agriculture activities, government schemes for young agri graduates, and also last week we have covered Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi EIR grant. So today we'll be discussing another exciting topic, that is Startup India Seed Fund for Agri Startups, igniting your entrepreneurship journey. So to discuss this topic, we are joined by a distinguished panel of speakers whose experience and expertise will illuminate the opportunities and pathways this scheme offers to the entrepreneurs. So it's truly honor to introduce our speakers shortly. We are confident that today's session will equip you with practical insights and actionable knowledge that to help you navigate the innovative agri startups. So thank you for being with us today, and let's look forward to an engaging and inspiring session ahead. So to introduce our first speaker for the to introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, all. It is Gina from Team Manage CIA. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Snehan Sinha, an accomplished professional with a strong background in infrastructure development, sustainable finance, and policy implementation. Currently serving as Assistant Manager at Invest India, Mr. Sinha plays a pivotal role in supporting national investment facilitation and sectoral growth initiatives. His experience spans across public and private sectors, including roles at ANNU Infraconstruct, Bindia Telelinks, and global firms like NTT Advanced Technology in Japan and Ernst & Young. Mr. Sinha is also certified in green investments, energy economics, and sustainability solutions, reflecting his deep commitment to sustainable development. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Snehan Sinha. The session is over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, and the entire team. And I would also want to welcome the fellow startups here for this insightful session on seed fund scheme for agri-tech startups. And the very intent of this session is to support you even if you are in any stage of your journey. So just allow me a minute. I'll share my screen and uh, if somebody can please confirm if my screen is visible at the moment.
Yes, sir, visible. Please
We are
make
on the
it
Startup
full
India
screen.
Seed Fund Scheme website, correct?
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Perfect. So I'll take this session in a threefold manner.
So
starting
can you
with,
make it slideshow mode, sir?
yes.
Full screen mode, sir. Yes, sir. Now. Yes, sir.
So, starting with seed fund scheme, we'll first discuss what was the need of the scheme. And then I'll give you an overview of the operationalization and what fund corpus has been allocated for the scheme uh, to a larger extent for the incubators and then for the startups. Following that, I'll share some key insights about the scheme guidelines, which would precisely consist of emphasizing on what expert advisory committee is, what are the specific important guidelines that are there for the incubators and then for the startups. So I would also, at the end, after the two sessions are done, we can take a question and answer round where anybody who has any query, and please feel free to reach out to us with any of your query, because the more questions you ask, the more clear it becomes in your mind. So uh, let's begin. So the very intent of launching this scheme was due to two reasons. Whenever an individual, or let's say I am a passionate individual or an entrepreneur, and I have an idea, I want to start something of my own, and I want to raise capital. Two challenges that I face socially. First, the banks do not lend me. And second, even if I have an idea, angel investors are not ready to invest in me in the initial stage of my journey. Let's say if I'm in the ideation or the proof of concept stage. And to this issue came up with a multiple number of entrepreneurs, and that is when the government came up with the idea of Startup India Seed Fund Scheme to support entrepreneurs who have just thought of an idea and have just are in their ideation stage and are ready to launch it, or even if they have launched it, they are ready to scale it, and anything and everything that entrepreneur may require in their journey can be fulfilled using the scheme guidelines. So moving to the next slide, overview. So this is a 945 crore corpus that has been approved by Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce. Out of the 945 crore, 900 crores has been allocated for the startups, and 45 crores has been allocated as for the incubators as management fee. And any incubator is approved a corpus of up to 5 crore rupees. So let's say I am an incubation center and I have been approved a corpus of 5 crores. I get 5% additional management fee, and which I can use for any of my administrative expense, let's say for due diligence, or let's say if I have to give honorariums to those team members for that purpose also. So 5% of the entire corpus is left for incubators for their operational purpose. And it gives me at this moment immense pleasure to share with everybody that this February, the department was able to approve the entire 945 crore corpus to the incubators. And out of that also, we have disbursed approximately 575 crores to the incubators. So the money is going into the ecosystem. It is reaching out to the startups. I'll share the numbers going forward in the coming slides to go. The Startup India Seed Fund scheme was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister in 2021 on 16th of January. And if anybody would be aware of, 16th January is also a very special day because we celebrate it as National Startups Day. In 2016, Honorable Prime Minister had launched the Startup India mission. And on the very same day, in 2021, Seed Fund scheme was also launched. And as I speak to you, we have approved more than 2,800 startups under this scheme with a corpus ranging from zero to the maximum limit. So 2,800 entrepreneurs, and when I say entrepreneurs, these are not just ideas, these are dreams, these are passions that we support. So moving to the operationalization part of the scheme, I'll share with you how the selection process happens and what is the flow of the money. So DPIIT is the nodal department. There's an expert advisory committee chaired by Additional Secretary Ma'am. And this expert advisory committee is responsible for the evaluation and selection of the incubators. And these incubators have individual incubator seed management committees, ISMCs, which we call, which evaluates and selects startups. So the department selects incubators, the incubators select startups, and that is how the money also flows. Now, moving to the call for application. Earlier, the call for application was open for all the incubators and for all the startups round the year, round the clock. But since the entire corpus has already been approved, the startup applications for incubators have been put on hold. However, the applications for the startups is still ongoing. A startup can apply any day, any time throughout the year in seed fund scheme. So an incubator, as I mentioned, can be given a grant of up to 5 crore, which is disbursed in milestone-based 3 installments. In our ministry, we call these installments as tranches. So an incubator gets 3 tranches of 40%, 30%, and then 30%. So if I have been approved a corpus of 5 crore, I'll get first tranche of 2 crores, then 1.5 crore, and then 1.5 crore plus management fee, the 5% that the incubator get for their operational purpose. These and just for startups reference, that we would also like to share, every quarter we conduct a quarterly review where we evaluate and we understand what the status of the scheme is and how our incubators are performing, how our startups are performing, and to what extent a startup has reached. It gives us immense pleasure when we hear a startup founder who had just thought of an idea and later on that idea was able to culminate into reality, and now he has landed to any of the VC firms, or let's say to a Shark Tank India. Moving to call for applications for the startups. So once you apply your application on the portal, you have to select 3 incubators and as your preferred incubator. Your application is suited to all the 3 incubators, and these incubators are given 45 days to evaluate and take a call on your application as a startup, whether and this decision is taken by incubator seed management committee. As department, we ensure that incubator seed management committee is also composed of a requisite number of members. Let's say a member from the industry, a member from the academia, two entrepreneurs, one from VC representative, one chairman, one representative from the state government. This is our responsibility to ensure that every ISMC has a fair share of members, and not just from the host institution, but what the decision is taken is completely the ISMC's decision. Now coming to the most important part of the presentation, what is the financial benefit? Since we are discussing about seed fund scheme and we are saying we are supporting startups, but the very question comes up with how much support are we giving to startups? So I'll share with you that any startup is eligible for a grant of up to 20 lakhs and for a debt of up to 50 lakhs. Grant is given to startups that are in their initial stage of journey. Let's say if I am a startup founder, I am in the proof of concept stage, or let's say if I am in the idea prototype development stage, and if I am looking for a debt now, and a debt of up to 50 lakhs is available for startups. And if I'm looking for a debt, then I need to be somewhere in my later stage of journey, ranging from prototype development to market launch to commercialization. So if this is a very tricky question also that we often discuss internally, that if a startup is approved a grant, then the startup is eligible for debt at later stage of journey. But if a startup has been approved debt, then why is the startup not eligible for a grant? The only reason is because debt is given at later stage of journey. And as per the scheme, any incubator can disburse a maximum of up to 20% of the corpus for a grant. So if I am an incubator and I've been approved 3 crore rupees, I can give up to maximum 60 lakhs of grant, and the remaining has to be given in debt. As I just mentioned, there's year-round call for applications for startups and incubators, and the scheme is completely sector agnostic. Let's say you are a startup from any sector, you are eligible to apply under the scheme, and the it is also geographically agnostic in nature. And what I mean by being geographically agnostic, a startup founder from Jammu and Kashmir can be incubated with an incubator from Tamil Nadu. And similarly, an incubator from Rajasthan can incubate a startup from Arunachal Pradesh. Also, for the startups, one very important point is that virtual incubation is allowed. As a startup founder, we may not have the resources at the moment to financially take care of our travel and stay, let's say, to any other city or a state. But having virtual incubation facility opens avenues to be connected to incubators across the nation. Now coming to who are the members of the expert advisory committee, or in fact, what is the expert advisory committee? As I mentioned, expert advisory committee is a industry, government, academia collaborative committee which consists of representative from the central government. For example, as you can see on the screen, Aarti Bhatnagar ma'am, she is additional secretary and financial advisor to the government of India. She is the chairman of the committee. We have our joint secretary from DPIIT as the convener, and then we have representatives from DST, and this ensures there's government participation also. Now coming to the industry participation, we have representatives. Let's say, for example, I'll share with you one of the professors from IM Kozhikode is also a member of expert advisory committee. He brings with himself experience from academia background. And coming to the industry representative, we have representatives from venture capitalist firms. For example, we have Anjali Bansal ma'am. You'll see her picture in the next slide. We have Apurva Ranjan Sharma from one of the VC firms. So this is a very diverse committee that is skilled with, I would say, which has been doing this job of selecting incubators for a while, and they are very much efficient in taking a call on this. We often reach out to the committee even for the day-to-day non-compliances that come up in the scheme. Now, coming to the assistance to what we provide to the incubators, since this uh, session is precisely for the startups, I'll quickly cover this up and not bore you with this. So for the incubators, incubators have to commit entire 50% of the entire corpus in the initial 2 years and 100% in the initial 3 years. And incubators are given 5% of management fee. And when I told you that the incubators are eligible for subsequent tranches, now the question arises, when can the incubator apply for a subsequent tranche? So the very answer is that when the cash in hand falls below 10%, then the incubator becomes eligible. Let's say I'm an incubator, I have been approved a corpus of 5 crore, I have received the first tranche of 2 crore rupees, I have given it to the startups, and I am left with 40 lakhs of money right now in my hand. I am eligible to apply because the eligibility comes with 10% of the 5 crore corpus, which is 50 lakhs. Whenever the money in my bank account falls below 50 lakhs, I can apply it again for a subsequent transfer to the department. And for the startups reference, we also select incubators on multiple parameters, and we suggest startups to identify and select incubators on the parameters mentioned on the screen. I'll share what I mean by elaborating a couple of them. Any startup should also not just look for access to funding, because right now what the scenario is, access to funding is available, but what is lacking is the clarity of thought. Why you as a startup founder should start this? Why now? And what problem does it solve in the current market? You may be a great founder, you may win the room with your pitch deck, but your product should win the market. Coming to this, as a startup founder, you should always have a look and check the quality of the team of the incubation center. What experience do they bring? Will it benefit you in their journey? And secondly, you should also have a look at the incubator seed management committee. We often suggest our incubators to share more information of their ISMC committee to the startup so that they can take a fair call on this. Also, as a startup founder, you also need to identify that if the incubator has the right infrastructure to support you or not. So if I am a startup founder who is researching in agri-tech sector, and I go to an incubation center whose focus sector is deep tech, then that the incubation center may not be very relevant to me in terms of solving my needs. It is always better to connect with an incubation center that already supports startups from the agri-tech sector. So do select incubators that align with your focus sector and have money in their hand also. And for this problem also came up recently. What the team decided and what we did was we have if you visit the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme website, I don't have a slide for that. I'll share with you very innovative thing that we did and which I have not come across any other. No. So we have created a section for incubator portfolio where all the incubators selected under the Startup India scheme have their portfolios made on the website. So as a startup founder, if I am a startup founder, as I mentioned, let's say I am growing potatoes and I'm in the agri-tech sector. I want to know which incubator supports startups from the agri-tech sector. All I need to do is go to the website, apply the filter there, choose agri-tech, agriculture as my focus sectors, and out of the 220 plus incubators that we have, I will be able to identify 20-25 incubators that are specifically dealing in the agri-tech sector. And that is where filtration and my effort is precisely concise to that this is on spot what is required and this is where I need to hit. Now, also the incubators, the startup should also look for what mentorship facility that the incubator offers. Now, eligibility for criteria for the incubators may not be very relevant. I'll move to the eligibility criteria for the startup. For the startups, I'll share what eligibility criteria there should be. The startup should not have been incorporated more than 2 years ago. So what I mean by that, let's say today is 7th June 2025. Any startup that has been incorporated after 7th June 2023 is eligible for Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. All you need to do is one thing, get DPIT recognition certificate. And trust me, getting DPIT recognition certificate is as easy as opening an Instagram or a Facebook account. Now, this is a committee representation which I have already shared. Any ISMC should have a chairman, a representative from the state government, one from the VC firm, one from industry, one from academia, two successful entrepreneurs, and one relevant stakeholder. And as part of the department, it is our responsibility to ensure that these members are there in the ISMC. And since we are talking so much about startups, my very question to all of you is if you are even aware of what is the actual criteria for a company to be called as a startup. So there are 4 criteria. One, the company should be a private limited company or a limited liability partnership or a registered partnership, and it should not have been incorporated from 10 years ago. And the company should not have a turnover of crossing 100 crores, and the company should be doing something innovative, should create wealth, should be scalable, and should create job also. Now, when I mentioned to you getting DPIT recognition certificate is as easy as opening an Instagram or Facebook account, what do you need to do? And what is the TAT? It is 48 hours at max. So you just fill in the form, your application will be sent to the department. Two things will happen post that. Either you will receive your DPIT certificate or the department will reach out to you for supplementary documents. You provide the documents and your work is done and dusted. But with DPIT recognition certificate, a multiple number of avenues open for you, ranging from participation in government e-marketplace, ranging for participation in other initiatives of Startup India, like National Startup Awards, MARG Initiative, Investor Connect Portal, and so forth and so on. Now, eligibility criteria for the startups, which I mentioned, should not be incorporated 2 years ago. The startup should have a business idea, should be using technology at its core, and there's also preference given to some of the sectors, as you can see on the screen. And one of the question, as I can see on the screen, any email ID. Yes, on the incubator portfolio page, you will find link to the incubation center's website. There you can get the email ID as well. Now, one of the most important, two important eligibility criteria for startups is that the startup should not have received more than 10 lakhs of monetary support under any central or state government scheme. The very question why they should not have received more than 10 lakhs, because the scheme itself is seed funding. Seed funding is for the startups who are in the initial stage of journey. And as you can see on the screen, the Indian promoter should be at least 51%. 20 lakhs of grant, as you can see, mentioned also, a startup is eligible for a grant of up to 20 lakhs and for a debt of up to 50 lakhs. These are the criteria that I mentioned. Any startup founder should focus on and have a look at what kind of, let's say, for example, as an incubation center, if I'm going to an incubation center, any incubation center, I should check that what kind of investor connect they have, what networking will it bring to me on the table, what mentors will I be associated with, how other passionate individuals I will be working with. So my friends, this is it. Call for application is now open. Apply. You are eligible to apply anytime, any day around the year. And uh, this is the link for the guidelines. And if you allow, I'll share the guidelines with you as well. It is a 14-pager PDF. It is sacrosanct in nature. It is sacrosanct, I would repeat. Everything that we do under the scheme is mentioned in the scheme guidelines. And as a startup founder, everybody should go through the scheme guidelines. So I think we are done with the seed fund scheme presentation. And
So, yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah. Is there anything, sir? Or is it
no,
over
ma'am,
present?
it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hope
thank you,
this was
sir.
beneficial for the startups.
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you very much, sir, for providing an insightful overview of the Startup India Seed Fund scheme, including its operational framework and application process. And we now have a clear understanding of the scheme's financial benefits and key features, and as well as its importance in supporting early stage startups. And also, you have provided proper guidelines and eligibility for the startups. Thank you so much for the informative presentation. So the participants, if you have any questions, you can keep in chat box, and also you can raise your hand. So the questions will be taken up after the second speaker presentation. So hands are kindly be in line. We'll take up the questions after the second speaker presentation. So to introduce our second speaker, I want to call my colleague Sonam to introduce our second speaker.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sonam from Team Manage CIA, and we are honored to welcome Mr. Mridang Shukla, a dynamic professional with over 15 years of experience, including 8+ years in managerial roles and 5+ years academic as a professor. Currently serving as an incubator manager at Atal Incubation Center, MIT Art Design and Technology, Pune. Mr. Shukla has played a key role in nurturing over 74 startups, managing 30 crore plus in funding, creating 300 plus jobs, and driving impactful CSR projects. He has been instrumental in startup mentoring, fundraising, and ecosystem development, and has successfully led strategic initiatives like Global Entrepreneur Conclave 2025, a certified facilitator and an ecosystem enabler. He brings deep insight into incubation, startup financing, innovation, and impact creation. Thank you for joining us today, sir, and we look forward an enriching and inspiring session. Over to you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. So currently, as you mentioned, a bit change of it. I'm working now as a CEO of an incubation center called DPU, Foundation for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. That's a Section 8 company registered by Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapit, Pimpri, Pune. That is in Pune, which has a 14 constituent institutions in hospital, dentistry, medicines, along with Ayurveda, along with science and technology and design schools. So there are 14 constituent institutions. So that's in Section 8 company, DPU Foundations for Innovations. Priorly, I had worked with AIC, Atal Incubation Center, MIT ADD Incubator Forum, as an incubator manager. Considering that since 2021, when on 16th of when the scheme was introduced, we were in the first tranche of getting this fund. So we were one kind of an enabler of this ecosystem as the first granted incubation centers, first batch granted incubation centers. So we were trying to learn the scheme of Startup India seed fund schemes from the incubation side, incubator side, and it's very exciting. And also, we are thankful to the government for such an initiatives for to the startups. I just like to ask a question to Sir Director, sir, that whether you have a grant the Startup India seed fund schemes implemented or not. You
No,
have received.
no, we
Okay.
never played. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I just like to share my experience as in from the incubator side. Okay, so that's the reason why we have just initiated from the Invest India side, explaining about the scheme, and now from the incubation side about the scheme. So it's a wonderful and one of the most benefited scheme across India, and incubators apply it considering the formation of a ISMC committee, Incubator Seed Management Committee, that is whole solely been depend on the directors and CEOs of the incubation center to form that committee. Only needs to be approved by EAC, and they are quite supportive in accepting the committee actually. Okay, that is one part of it. Second part of it, you get a 20% of that grant, which mentioned of the total corpus of it to be used. So it is 5 crore. So 60 lakh, you get it to disburse it as a grant. Now this is up to, it's a grant which is never to be returned. So just remember that to approve the grant to the many startups is more important than to give most of the grants to the single startup. I hope you understand that, right? It's a grant so that everyone gets the benefit of the seed fund schemes as a grant. Second thing is debt or debt linked instruments, and those can be done by through CCD, compulsory convertible debentures, which is the most prominent one, which most of them are doing it from the incubation side, incubator side to the start with the startups, because that involves the debt as well as the equity engagement as well, CCD. So this is the most important one instead of just giving them as a debt, because in the debt you are liable to only take a debt up to the repo rate. Remember, the debt interest is up to the repo rate. You cannot take beyond that engagement. So those all are the preferred things of it, which we'll discuss in detail when you apply for the your incubation center for the SISFS. Okay. Apart from that, let's talk now to the benefits of for the startups and agripreneurs who have joined here. Wonderful. So, government schemes for agri startups. It is not only pertaining to SISFS as a scheme, but there are many schemes which I'll be covering here, and all from the government end. Okay. Before that, why it is essential to just deliver this slide to you? It's very important. You need to clear out the eligibility criteria. One of the message I saw in the chat box as someone asking that do you support at the ideation stage? Yes, our incubator supports at the ideation stage, but there's a predefined word called as in pre-incubation. They are not incubated startups. Consider this. I'm thankful that directors sir or the CEOs have joined this from the manage. Consider that each and every of your entities or the startup is registered entity. When I say a registered entity, that means they have to be preferred private limited, LLP, or the partnership. Only these three firms are liable and eligible to get the Startup India certification. While registering this, compulsorily have a DSC, digital signature, with you, so that you could get within 44 hours, within 24 hours, within 24 hours, you get this Startup India certification. So from the incubation center side, the incubated startup should be a registered entity and registered entity in the Startup India portal. So should have at least this preferred research publication and projects from the academic institution should be converted into revenue driven startups generating IPs. Remember, if you are associated with a research center or you are associated with academics, promote the culture of registering the IP in the company name. It is very important. Once it is registered, IP is in the company name, there is a better involvement for the technology transfers things. and should generate an IPs and should be focused on licensing or selling, should be promoted. That's the job of an incubation center, not only to support the startups. If you're an academic institution, like we are in the DY Patil institutions, we are now into the technology transfer things. That means we are promoting for the technology transfers of it. Next one, next please. Next slide, please. Okay, this is mentioned as an eligibility criteria for the startup, which I mentioned. Now, since 21, there's a new guideline to it that biotech startups, medical related startups, and social innovation startups are given the startup certification for the 10 years as an eligible. But for the remaining sectors of the startup, they are given as 7 years of eligibility. So the startup is valid till the 7 years of it. Now, this startup is valid for 7 years. That means within 2 years, you need to register the entity. Once you registered the entity by applying, if you have applied it, the formation of your company as a private limited is in 2023 and you are applying in 2025. So you get the certification of validation Startup India for the 5 years, because it's maximum 7 years or 10 years. 10 years for the biotech and all related startups. Those things are mentioned over here. Along with it, you are liable to take 80 IAS tax exemption certification. Once you have a Startup India certification, you are liable to get a 3 consecutive years of tax benefit. You are not supposed to pay a single pay. You are given an exemption for not paying the taxation for consecutive 3 years. That is up to you to choose which 3 consecutive years. So this is so wonderful that consider this, that you are making your prototype, you are making your MVP. At that time, you're not having any revenue. So why should you be liable to pay the taxes? That's what government heard, and they have given you the choice for giving a tax exemption for the 3 years. One part is that. Second and most important part is it that usually you should promote to have a private limited firm, considering that you must have all seen the Shark Tanks. In the Shark Tanks, they talk in the equity matter. That equity matters can only be mentioned to the private limited firm and not to the LLP or the partnerships. LLP and partnerships. Partnership is the most riskiest one for registering the company, considering if there are 2 partners, minimum 2, and maximum is unlimited. So if you have 2 partners, 3 or 4 of the partners, then one of the partners, if somehow of a time gets away, then your whole company is just closed. Band ho jayegi wo company. Okay, so that's a partnership. But then there is an LLP. There's a limited liability partnerships. That's a limited liability in that. In the partnership, there's a 100% liability, and in the private limited firm, that's a complete privately, and you are absolutely zero liable for that. But company and the individuals are the separate. Why I'm emphasizing on this part of it? Because it is very important to get in knowledge of such things. Then before getting into schemes, funds, capital, those are very jargon words I tell to you for the startups. Before that, it is very essential to get the basics informations of it. Okay, next please. Second part also, that now as a private limited firm, you can register it as a zero paid up capital. Most important. So these are it, a few of the benefits of it. Those all slides have been taken from some of the members from the Startup India itself, from DPIT. You can register the private limited firm now with a zero paid up capital as well. Yeah, definitely you won't have the shares or the equity allotment at that time if you have zero paid up capital. Because understand it, this all words, paid up capital, authorized capital, those all words are very, very important. It's very important for the incubation centers to know these words. Along with it, deliver the same thing to the startups to whom you are incubating, because it's very essential. Okay, so the DPID and the Startup India recognitions, as in which I mentioned here, tax exemptions, which I said 100% income tax exemption for 3 consecutive years, exemption from the angel tax on investments in the fair market valuations. This all benefit eventually you get once you have a Startup India certifications. And the second most important Startup India certification benefit is the India comes to know in which sector you are working in. Government comes to know in which sector you are working in by just registering it. So that's the reason why They will keep on sending you all the grants, schemes, challenges available across India in your mail. And you just need to follow it and you need to apply it. That's it. That's great. So funding support, next slide. Next slide, please. DPIT is same, Startup India recognition benefits, which I have mentioned it over here. IPR support also, you get it from the DPIT. 80% rebate on the patent filing through Kapila portal. You know Kapila portal, okay? So Kapila is Kalam IP things. So in the Kapila portal, you get a complete reimbursement of the government fees up to 100 IPs. 100 application. So 5,60,000 you get, up to 5,60,000 you get a reimbursement of all the government things for the IPR support. Networking and the marketing access is also along with it. Next please. Yeah, this is most important slides which I wanted to know all of you. You must have heard about raising capital, managing finance for the startup definitely. Do you know idea about each and every word of this? Rising capital. Why it is written as a rising capital? Pardon? Any question in between? Hello?
No, sir, please go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
sir, go
okay.
ahead, sir.
Okay, so rising capital. Why it is mentioned as a capital and not the money? There's a difference in the money and the capital. Why it is mentioned? What do you mean by the capital? So remember, there's all such small words will get you a great insights and you will be knowing the answers to it. So capital, when I say the capital refers to the financial resources. It is a resources. It is not only the finance and the money. It is not rising money. It is a rising capital. And what do you mean by the financial resources? Financial resources encompasses the monetary assets. That means an individual, organization, or government has an available to meet their financial obligations and achieve their goals. These resources can be tangible, like the cash or investment, or intangible, like the credit lines and insurance policies even. So this all comes into the capital resources. Capital में आ जाता है ये सब कुछ. It is not only about the money. It's a financial resources. The money is just a medium of exchange, a tool for the facilitating transaction. Okay, now comes the fund. So fund is not only a money, fund is a specific pool of money often collected for a particular purpose like the investment or the grant. Okay, so remember the definition itself. When I talk about the fund, it's a specific pool of money. By whom? By someone. That means you are begging here to give you the money. A fund is begging of money from the institutions, from the fund agencies and schemes, but for a particular purpose. So that purpose needs to be defined by the startup. You need to have a specific purpose. If someone asks you, okay, sir, we need a fund as an incubator, just ask them for what, how many, and how you will utilize it. कितना चाहिए, क्यों चाहिए, और कहाँ खर्च करोगे. That's it. This three information is enough to disburse for the fund. And these three questions are only pertaining to the startups. Startup is only to define these three questions. That's it. Okay. So capital funding now. So capital funding is the money that lenders and equity holds and provide to the businesses for daily and the long-term needs. Okay, so there can be an operating capital, and like the businesses uses money for the operating capital. The bond and the equity holders expects to earn a return for their investments in the form of interest, dividends, and the stock options. So those all words, these are jargon words. They are not difficult to understand, but they are very important to know. Okay, next, please. These are some of the cases how to manage a startup, manage a finance for the startups. Some of the key aspects: budgeting and forecasting, cash flow management, financial performance monitoring, seeking professional advisors, setting a financial goal. This all answers the startup should know before going and asking for the fund. These are the specific pertaining questions to it. You just need to fill the blanks and put on the heading and put on the numbers to it. Next. This is a basic difference you should know, and everyone should know what is difference in the paid up capital and the authorized capital. This is for the explanation to the startups who have just started working on it, but should know the difference in paid up and the authorized capital. Next. These, why the funding is required for the startups. Remember, see, these all slides I have taken from the Startup India portal itself. Go and see the Startup India portal. You will get all the informations. You don't need to see anywhere or take the references of the slides. All my slides are from the Startup India portal itself. So beautifully explained. Why the funding is required for the startups. These are the words which is mentioned here. Prototype creation for the startups. Product development, team hiring, working capital, legal and consulting services, raw material and equipments, licensing and certification, markets and sales, office space and admin expenses. इस heading के अंदर you just need to fill up the numbers to it. That's it. That's why you required in fund. Next. Stages of a startups in terms of the financing, this all from the Startup India portal, the sources of the fire and stages of the startup and sources of the funding. This is so important. I will go with each and every parts of it. Ideation, validation, early traction, scaling and exit option. This only are the 5 stages of the startups if you are concerned with the source financing things of it, not the MVP, POC. Those are the prototype, POC, first ideation, then POC, then prototype, then MVP. Those are the different stages of the startups of executions. But when you talk about the fundings, those are the ideation, validation, early traction, scaling, and exit option. Next. So this is one should be the manuscript and Bible for all of us. And also this is kind of in Bhagavad Gita for all of us. I really mean it, this slide. Why I'm saying this? This will make you understand in each stages in which you are a startup is to get or kya options available have in the society in the India currently. This is the one. Stages of a startup and sources of the funding. Ideation. Ideation is usually defined as a pre-seed stage. Why the word that is called as a seed funding? Seed का मतलब क्या होता है? जो बोऊंगा वही पाऊंगा. If I am sowing a seed, banana seed, it will grow as a banana only. I'm not expecting pomegranate out of that seed, right? So that means I know what is the future of that seed is. So that's a seed stage. But before that, at the ideation stage, there's a lot of iterations to be left. So at that time, you should seek for bootstrapping or the self-financing. Bootstrapping is getting a finance from parents, from the friends, or from someone, putting on own money, bootstrapping, and self-financing, friends and families, and the business pitch or the pitching events. You should pitch to most of the seed where there is a pretty cash involved into it. That's a pre-seed stage, or you said pre-incubation phase of it. Next one is a seed stage. That's a validation. You require in money to prove it beyond POC, prototype development and MVP. Those stages, incubators can help you by providing you the seed funding. That seed funding is what SISFS is mentioning as a grant. SISFS ka, okay, where there is no revenue involved, but there is a prototype development and minimum viable product development of it. So SISFS could help you for that grant. Government loans and the schemes, there are many schemes loans available, which I'll be eventually covering next. Angel investors, I request all to be okay. Angel investors are just an angels considering that they are putting on the money when you don't have any traction of the revenues, only for the prototype developments, and maybe in the future may earn the revenue, but it's a very stringent type of an investor, because they take a lot of inequity against a many very petty cash actually. So giving you 10 lakh, 15 lakh or 20 lakh of the angel investors, but in return they may take up to 15 or 20% of an equity. That is a very tough case of it for the startup. But definitely they are the angels, considering they are putting on the money at the time when you are still into development phase. Okay, Crowdfunding, this is the other part. There are many of our crowdfunders who will help you to raise the fund. Early traction and series A stage. Early traction, that means you have started earning the revenue beyond the MVP stage of it. So that there's a venture capital funds, there's a NBFCs. What are NBFCs? We'll come to know in the part of it. So let me give you a detail of what is a venture capital funds, what are NBFCs, and what is a venture debts funds. Those are the all different types of the fundings actually. Okay. There are alternate investment funds also. There are three categories to it. Alternate investment funds, investing in the socially and economically beneficial ventures. Category 2 for the alternate investment funds, private equity and the debt funds, and the hedge funds, that is category 3 of it. Now NBFCs, which I said, is a non-banking financial companies. Those non-banking financial companies are the institution like venture capitalists, those who are involved in the currency exchanges, and also the micro loan organizations and some pawn shops, PWN, pawn shops as well. So those are considered to be in the NBFC part. There are SCBs. Now remaining all the banks, private sectors and the public sectors, those all are called as in scheduled commercial banks. So there are many, according to Reserve Bank of India, scheduled commercial banks. And along with it, the third part is a venture debt. The venture debt, that means both will consist of the debt and the equity component. The venture component, you say CCD, and so Trifact, Altera, and the Strides, those are some of the venture debts companies. Then you go beyond to series B, C, D, and E stage of it. You get in venture capitals and private equity and the investment firms. Exit option is very important to understand by the incubators. Merger and acquisition, you are getting a merged or getting acquitted by bigger companies at that time. Initial public offering, right now you are the private limited firm, you go to the public limited, considering your shares has been opened up for the public offerings. Selling of shares and the buybacks, these buybacks are by the incubator. To the director and the CEOs of this incubation center manage, I really mean it and tell this buybacks, you need to concern and you need to follow up and you need to work for this buybacks actually. Considering that the equity engagement that you are having with the startups, inform them to return the value in respect to the equity what you have earned, and that is your earning for the self-sustainability of your incubation center, as we all are the Section 8 companies. That's why there are only three types of startup fundings, remember.
Sorry to interrupt. We'll finish within 2 minutes so that we can have time for discussion.
So, okay, definitely. So I'll just quickly grab through all the slides of it. Okay, so there are three types of startup fundings: equity, financing, and debt of the funding. Mostly I was just concerned in explaining to the startups this all things which they don't know. Maybe you all incubators and doctorates must be knowing it. So I'm getting into detail of each and every detail things of it, because I've experienced that the startup do not much know about these things. Next, please. Please next. Okay, these are the support from the Startup India funding supports. Not only Startup India seed fund scheme is one kind of support from Startup India, but there are seed B funds of fund as well. Startup India Investor Connects a credit guarantee scheme for the startups as well. And Startup India seed fund scheme is one kind of a scheme for it. Next. 2 minutes you said, right? Next, please. Then please ask your person also to quickly go further. These are types of the startup fundings which I mentioned to you. Then please go through it. Next. Next, please. These are the investor targeting on what specific things they will target. That's what thing. Next. Term sheet, what do you mean by the term sheet and what it should contain to it? That's a valuation, investment structures, management structures, and the changes to the share capitals. Next. Okay, so we are thankful to Mantri Sai Naresh for providing these slides, and also to Mr. Umesh Rathod who provided these slides from the government and the government schemes for the startup in India. And these schemes is pertaining to agri as well. It doesn't mean to other it's not. But next. So DPRT, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SISFS is one of the schemes. Fund of the funds for the startup is another one. Credit guarantee scheme for the startups is the one. It explains in detail. Tax incentives, we all know. Next. Nidhi program, Prayas, EIR, seed support, and TDB. This all are the different kinds of funds which are available for the agri startups. Next. Mighty is also involved. It doesn't mean agri tech bhi ho sakta hai. So they are there to give you the grants for this. Mighty Startup Hub, Tide 2.0, Samriddhi, Genesis, COEs. This all are there. AI, IoT or MedTech के लिए 20+ Center of Excellences बनाए that provides a lab and mentoring things of it. Next. MSMEs and ministries, those are some of it grants. PMEGP is a subsidy loan that can be that is given to the MSMEs. MSMEs, you need to register it. It's an enterprise, not the startups. So once you get into the revenue, beyond revenue, these are beyond revenue because MSMEs are the enterprises. They are not the startups. So enterprises are defined based on the revenue that are generated, not at the prototype or ideation stage as well. BIREC is the most important grant for the agri startups because the BIREC gives 50 lakh up to 50 lakh of the non-refundable grants to it. And agri startups are eligible to go for the BIREC grants. Most important, 50 lakh early stage grant for the BIREC. All these requires but eligibility criteria to be the company. BioNest, then BIPP and a Seed and Spush. Those all are the grants available for agri startups. Not only for the biotech, but all for the agri as well. There are many of the incubation centers associated with AIM, Niti Aayog, ANIC, that is an Applied Research and Innovation Challenges, Atal New India Challenge. Those all things are available for the startups as an individual, not an incubator, but to the startups. ANIC, 1 crore of the grant they give it. WEP, Women Entrepreneurship Platforms, it provides a networking, funding access. You just need to register it and be eligible to get it registered. Next. Quickly. Okay. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfares, RAFTAAR, Agri Clinics, Startup India Fund, and Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Next. Even this Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandries, and the Dairying. So next. I'm done with the 2 minutes.
Yes, sir, you're done, sir, already.
Okay, already. I'm sorry to have wasted your 2 minutes of time more.
It's okay, sir. It's okay.
Yeah. So this all are the funding grants for the startups. I'm passionate to work with the startups. Only the incubator should have patience to listen more. That's it. So please, I request all the startups to get the slides with you and go with the each and every grants to it. You're all eligible to apply for this. Okay, go to the next. Just one slides if possible. Next. I'm thanking to Mr. Sai Naresh who have created the slides and circulated across it. This is Vadwani Foundation. Okay, this one. Put this here. One back. Okay, so our aim should be to support 10,000 startups across it so that we get 200 startups, that is less than 2% of it as success of it. But those successful startups is enough to run our incubation centers revenues of it. Right. So that should be the goal of it. Thank you so much. I'm thankful to Vadwani Foundation for providing these slides and we have been trained by them. Well, thank you. That's all me.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you for the detailed presentation and for sharing your valuable insights from the incubator perspectives, particularly about the DPU Foundation for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. Like we now have a better understanding of the associated benefits, including regulatory relaxation, tax assumptions, funding support, and public procurement advantages, IPR facilitations, and also the marketing opportunities and the guidance on the rising capital and effectively managing the finance for startup was really helpful. Thank you so much for the detailed presentation. So participants, now if you have any questions, you can keep in chat box and also you can raise your hand. So both the speakers are available. Now I'm going to take questions. So yeah. So Vikram is asking, while registering a company as an LLP or private limited, is there any mandatory requirement to have a minimum paid up capital 1 lakh? Or for example, 1 lakh.
Yeah, so actually that was, but now it is not, because a private limited company can be registered with a zero paid up capital as well. But only thing is, you cannot make a share agreement because you're not allotted any shares. Share agreements is based, and equity engagement is based on the paid up capital. You need a better understanding with the CA, but so concerned with the CA, and they are there to provide you all the informations about it. But yes, for the private limited, it's a 1 lakh minimum as a paid up capital.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So Sandipan is asking, sir, I'm working for an agri-tech startup. Individual founders are eligible for Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. I think this question is to Snehanshu, sir.
By individual founder, if you mean a one-person company, sir, then I would say only private limited companies and registered partnership and LLPs are eligible, and private limited company stands, if I'm not wrong, it should have at least 2 directors. So OPCs are not eligible.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I think my system got slow. Sonam or Usha ma'am, can you able to take the questions? I think some problem with the network.
Yes, sir. I will. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I will take the questions. So there is one question from Joseph. Sir, I represent JP Organic Agri. I want to highlight the challenges faced by small and marginal farmers, as well as the entrepreneurs from non-agriculture backgrounds. In the accessing funding, the current application form are complex and mainly suited for business experts, leading to many rejection. Additionally, validation by young professional lacking practical farming experience affects. Can we simply make the process fairer and ensure that transparency, your guidance is appreciated? I think anyone can
Okay,
answer,
so
sir.
yeah, so Mr. Joseph, you should look around that more than 1 lakh people and more than all the peoples who are registered entity as a startup are using this fund, Startup India Seed Fund, as a beneficiaries. I don't think so they are facing any problem in complexities to it. Only thing is the understanding of it. So please reach out to the incubation center like the manage. They will guide you for the same. And there could be some unanswered questions in your mind, but you should get clear to that. There's no complexity of the form actually. If within 24 hours you are getting a Startup India certification, what more complexities can be there? How quick then you can? Yeah.
Adding on to what sir has mentioned, the government, I would say, is trying to do anything and everything to simplify the process. Having said that, you can get a DPIT recognition certificate in 24 hours. You can also apply for seed fund scheme in less than a day. So it is less than a day, or in fact, just 1 hour or 2 hour thing. So it is, the process is really, really simplified. And as I speak to you, 2,800 startups have been approved money. They've been selected and approved. So there are individuals who are applying and getting selected. And if I'm not wrong, more than 500 crore rupees has been approved to the startups out of the 945. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So next question is from Dr. Preeti. I am based in Bhopal, running millet secondary processing unit, looking for primary millet processing machine. Is there any scheme to get grant or subsidy for machinery?
So you just need to look around what I have shared the slides to it, okay, which are available for the prototype development. They provide the machineries also, and also they provide mentorship for the machineries. In many of the ways, it is right now as you are a startup, you should always uh, get the mentorship. You should always you should not be involved in procuring the machinery, in fact, but you should be leveraging the services of the other incubation centers in making the production of it. Okay, so there are certain grants. You just go through what slides I have mentioned there, and over there, if you just get in detail of each things, then you'll be coming to know there are a lot of prototype development grants as well. Okay, and for the millet, there's a lot many. I really mean it. BIRAC is also one of them, which you can get it, and there is a almost a many percentage of 50 lakh, up to 50 lakh you get it for the BIRAC grants. Yeah.
So someone has raised the hand. I think we shall take up the questions. So Subhajit Patra something. I think please kindly unmute him. Subhajit Patra and Venkatesh has raised the hand. So I think they are going to speak with the speakers.
Yes, very good afternoon, sir. I represent Bengal Bioscience LLP. That is the LLP that is founded. There is the two business verticals that we have planned. One is setting up a dealing with the agri input like retail and wholesale of fertilizers, pesticides, and seeds. That is the one vertical, and another vertical that we have planned for setting up an animal husbandry farm, like raise and breed up a goatary. Can we mark two verticals with a different trade name or with a single that means GST that has been registered or only with the Bengal Bioscience LLP, that is the legal name. So is there any difficulties in future prospect that the running of two verticals with the single legal name, or we have to register a different trade name for the two business vertical?
So there will be always be a difficulty, actually, I tell to you, because even though you run a thousands of the businesses under one vertical, one LLP name, whoever so will be having an engagement with you, it is through the company, right? So anything you do with the company all goes into his account as well. So any of an engagement you go do, and the person who is doing the engagement or getting a trademark or so is given to the company, not to the verticals what you are doing it inside, right? So it is always a risky name. It is always unbenefited things of it, actually. Under the company, one company, there should be one process. But if you are having saying that I have a two verticals, you should have gone for the other company registration for the other verticals, so that the person who are into production of what specific you are doing it and getting a partnership with the other persons of it should be involved into only one verticals, not the other one which you are also in expertise with it. Okay.
Okay. Sir,
Yeah.
one more thing, sir. There is a two designated partner. So two designated partner that incorporation with the incorporation two designated partner with the Bengal Bioscience LLP. But whenever we are, if we proceed for another legal entity, that the same designated partner, that would be okay. My
Yeah.
question.
You can have a number of companies registration. That is fine. India is quite benefit. You can have a number of the companies under your name, as in even same
Okay.
or even different. That's no reason to it. Only it should be legal what you are doing it in the country. That's it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Recommendation is for the different business. So different.
Exactly.
Okay.
Only a specific recommendation is that you should have a multiple companies for the multiple processes and multiple verticals.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Subhajit
Hi,
Patra.
sir.
So,
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I am Venkatesh, and I just registered a private limited company as a Tech for Farm Private Limited 5 months back for precision farming wing, and I have applied our Eureka also last night, days back. Our Eureka program is there, right? So I have uploaded it and have uploaded pitch deck also, sir. Currently, I am in the stage where I am going for trademark, and I have taken organization DSC to apply for our Startup India on Monday or Tuesday. So this is what the stage where I am, sir. Already prototype is almost ready, and we have tested for soil reports and all. and I APK file, the app APK file is about to ready in 3 to 4 weeks. This is where I am, sir. So I need a mentor, like, so from now onwards, I mean, I have taken the information bits and pieces, and the all pieces are connected in this webinar actually. Thank you for conducting this webinar, sir, actually. So because I don't have much knowledge about these funding related things, lot of, I mean, there are a lot of options I have seen in the webinar. I have taken the screenshots also in that fast track also. I have taken the screenshots, and I have copied every link and to visit that. So I need a mentor from now onwards, sir. Like, where can I take that type of support, sir? Actually,
Venkatesh, answering to, sir, if I may take the question. So,
yes,
Venkatesh, answering to your question, you're looking for a mentor. One of the initiatives in Startup India is MARG initiative. MARG stands for Mentorship, Advisory, Accessory, Resilience, and Growth. Where once you apply, let's say you come from a specific focus sector. I don't know what your startup is currently doing. So, let's say your focus sector is health tech, and you will be able to connect with mentors in the health who have been in the sector for at least 15 years or so. And once you apply in the MARG initiative, your application will be shooted to these mentors, and there will be only three cases. Either no mentor selects your application, or one mentor selects your application, or more than one mentor selects your application. In the second and the third case, your work is done. Coming to the former case, if no mentor has selected your application, as part of the Startup India team, what we do is we connect with the mentor, we ask them to help you and assist you with your growth and scalability, and then from we connect you with the mentor from backend, and then again then we connect you from the front end also. So MARG is the answer to your question: mentorship, advisory, accessory, resilience, and growth. Thank you.
yes, sir. Actually, I'm in the agriculture field only, sir. Actually, precision farming, right now.
So
Precision farming.
in which city you are in?
Sir, I am from Andhra Pradesh, sir. I am from Andhra
So
Pradesh.
there are a lot of incubation centers very well doing in the Andhra Pradesh. So you just
Yes.
connect with the incubation center, they will guide you. See, incubation
Okay.
centers are always there for the
Sure, sir.
startups. Remember,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Sure, sir.
All
Sure, sir.
incubation centers are Section 8 company mandated to work for the non-profit as in organizations and for the people and for the startups. Remember, okay?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So you go and engage with the startups incubation center, and remember, once you get incubated in any of an incubation center, it is same
Okay.
as then you apply for the fund. Then even the fund who is giving to you will consider this that you are incubated somewhere. Okay, you
Yes.
are not an individual. It is
Got it.
exactly now how it is seen in now country that you are pass out from some Indian institutions or national institutions. You have been considered more higher priorities, right, in
Yes,
recruiting
sir.
as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Same thing. The same thing it is now for the startup to get the funds through the incubation centers itself. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure,
Thank
sir.
you, Venkatesh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So I think Rukmani has raised the hand. We'll take up her question also. Rukmani, kindly unmute Rukmani.
Hello, can you hear me?
Please go
Hello?
ahead, Rukmani.
Sir, I have a question here. Saying that we are not a private company actually. We are just having the agriculture firm and FPO. So, what kind of schemes we can avail it in the startup? Is there any possibility? Because I noted in this meeting, it is like it should be private limited. You were addressing it, so I just wanted to ask like that.
So there's no such scheme called as which you can avail through the private limited. It is all scheme available for all the three entities. Okay. But the benefit to get into the private limited is if some other big companies get interested into your startup, then they have a direct engagement of equity with you. Most of the companies will have only and only equity engagement. Okay. They are not there to give you a loan or the debt, but they are there. The companies will give you an equity formation. You have seen the Shark Tank, right? Most of us over there, most of them do the equity engagement, right? Those equity engagement are done only and only by the private limited firm. So that's the reason why it is benefited to form the private limited as a company. Okay.
Okay. Because we are running a kettle feed, and when I approached to Mavif in Madurai, as an incubator, they are asking because I need only seed fund to start my project actually. So when I addressed to them, they were telling like we need to join as an incubator, and after that only we can avail the scheme like that.
Sorry, we aren't able to hear your question properly, but
Rukmani, you can keep your question in chat box. Otherwise, I'll take up that because we
yeah.
are not. It's not audible. Yeah. Thank you, Rukmani. I'll take one more question. Rakesh is asking, sir, I have an idea. Can I work out my idea to standardization the materials in incubation center for? Will I get support to trial my idea?
So that's the incubation manager needs to answer this question actually. Okay, not us.
Yeah. So Srini has raised the hands.
Now, what is the question? Incubation question. What was the question?
So he want to try the idea in incubation centers.
Yeah, Usa, you can answer, no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pushes, yeah. He's
Hello.
asking, he has an idea, so he want to standardize the material in incubation center. So will I get support to trial my idea?
Your voice is breaking, sorry.
I think echo is coming. So
Okay. Okay. Somebody want to try their idea, they can apply to the manage. Even idea stage, friendly applications are invited, they can apply. If applications are
Mr.
hot,
Rakesh,
then
the name is
Usa,
right.
just wait.
You can apply for our Agri Eureka. Last date is on June 10th at Manage Incubation Center. We have currently two incubation programs that is launched. Agri Eureka, which is a national level business plan challenge, and cohort training program, where you have three different options. If you are a student, you can apply under a student orientation program, or if you are in idea stage, you can apply for agripreneurship orientation program, or if you are already established startup, you can apply for 25 lakh funding, that is seed stage program. So
Yeah.
is there any chance we can unmute him?
Sir, I have a query. Can I ask?
Yes, Gautam, go ahead.
Yeah, it is for both the gentlemen. I have a startup and we also have a grant from under the RKVY-RAFTAAR scheme. We have got a grant of 5 lakhs. The second tranche we are waiting. But after, I wanted to approach Startup India Seed Fund. But the problem practical problem that we are facing, sir, is this, that there are so many, more than 250, 300 incubators are there. And we sitting here don't know which incubator has got money in his pocket right now, and or is he waiting for his second tranche. Now we got only three, we can apply to only 3 incubators. So we have got to do a lot of phone calling, we would actually call them up, all these 300 people, ask them, sir, do you have money in your pocket right now? Can I apply? Are you giving for this technology? And how much grant are you giving? How much seed fund you're giving? So let me complete. How much and how much amount are you giving? You see? And the problem that we are facing is that it is such a time consuming process. You see, and sir, honestly, government is saying take 50 lakhs. Incubators are saying take 15-20 lakhs. We want to put in more startups into it. So Raj, 15-20 lakhs may what type of a business can a startup do? And in that 15-20 lakhs, 20% goes to GST.
Goes to the GST. Please, sir, have some clear idea and a confirmation and specification to it. Don't defame our country's Startup India Seed Fund scheme and the incubation support which government has promised about it. Please understand it. You should go with the processes, sir. Okay. Please try to understand. We are here to explain you. Okay. The one is from the Invest India and the government of India. Me working as a facilitator to the startup in the incubation ecosystem. Okay. Now I tell to you one thing. What effort you should have made. That's what I am telling to you. Okay. You already got the grant of 5 lakh. You should be thankful to the government for giving you that grant at the ideation stage itself when you had nothing with you. One thing. And at your idea itself, you have received the grant. How the SISFS works, that I let you tell to you. Okay. There are all incubation centers, those who have agreed to give the grant of SISFS. You will get that all list of the incubation center that are eligible to give you the grants. Okay. Your job is to select any 3 of it, right? Don't you know personally any 3 of the incubation centers across India? If you know them, which 3 are the incubation centers whom you know, you should go and make a personal visit to them, all 3 of them. and give the requisition, not on the phone call. Remember, because me as a manager and me as a CEO usually get a lot of phone calls over the call from all the startup because everyone wants a grant and the debt, not on the phone call. They come to us. They come to us and say that we have a requisition to for the grant or for the debt because we are at this stage of it and this is my application. Please go for the consideration. This is exactly kind of an pitching, which you mention it. This is called as a pitching. Always the startup gets a fund if they are a good communicator, they are a good pitcher. Remember, in the Shark Tanks or anywhere, the pitchers comes to the Shark Tank, not the Shark Tank goes with them, even though they have the money then. You should go to the incubation center and search out with 3 are the best options for you to get that fund. Once you go there and inform them and give them the presentation, they will then take into consideration. Considering that there will be many of them, only 20% you can give it as a grant, and remaining all for the debt. They're ready to give you a debt. But only thing is, within one meeting or within 2 meetings or within just a pitching, someone is relying on you by giving you such a huge amount of 50 lakh. It is not a petty cash of it, just a 50 or just a 20. Do please remember that it is only a repo rate which they are taking it against that. If you had taken a loan or a loan from outside, then it is a huge investment thing and return of interest. But over here, it is only a repo rate. I hope I could answer your question and query, not on the phone call actually, but go and meet to the incubation centers, which whom you are expecting to get those grant or the debt. At least 3 you can make a visit to it, right?
Also, I
Okay.
would want to share with the fellow gentleman who has raised precisely 2 points. One, that they have to reach out to 300 incubators. And secondly, there is a gap between what the government has said up to 50 lakhs and the incubators, what incubators are offering of 15, 20 lakhs. I'll take on the first question, sir. So maybe you're not aware of what I just mentioned and is there as a functionality on the portal. There's an incubator portfolio page on the portal, which consists of portfolio of 220 incubators which are selected under the seed fund scheme. And there you can just apply a filter to identify incubators that align to your focus sector also. If I can share my screen, if you can just allow me to share my screen for a minute, I'll answer the question of the fellow gentleman. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So as you can see, there's a portfolio page on the seed fund scheme website. Just visit the incubator portfolio page. You'll find portfolio for every incubator that has been selected. All you need to do is go on the filter, and on the filter, once you click here on the filter, you need to select incubators that align with your focus sector. So from a list of 220 incubators, you will be able to filter out 2022 incubators. And not just that, you put another filter of incubators with available balance. Let's say an incubator that aligns to your focus sector may not be very relevant to you if they doesn't have the money. अगर पैसा ही नहीं है उनके पास फंड देने के लिए, या उनका कॉर्पस एग्जॉस्ट हो गया हो, so they may not be very relevant to you. Now what you need to do is just apply another filter of available grant. We as a functionality have also built for what money the incubator has right now in their hand. Available grant balance of 10 lakhs is available with FIRE, Forum for Innovation, Incubation, Research and Entrepreneurship. So this again will filter down your search from a list of 20 to, let's say, 10. Now you need to target these 10 incubators through their website, through your network, through LinkedIn or any other way that you can think of, and then identify an incubator in preference order 1, 2, 3 respectively. I hope this answers your first question elaborately. So let me stop sharing my screen.
Also,
Now
one
coming.
thing, okay, I like to add one thing. Also, one thing I like to add to that person, it is not only disbursement of the grant and the fund. Disbursement of the grant and the fund under SISFS is by the incubator. So at the time when he makes an engagement with a startup, they need to handhold his whole complete journey. It is not about just giving the money and get away. It is like they become an incubated startup of that incubator, considering they are there to support them with the further journey. Okay, so it is an agreement that the incubator makes with the startup from the government Startup India, Invest India money. Okay. That's an engagement actually. Okay. So that's why they can only support when they are working in the same sector in which you are in. Right? So you select 3 sectors, one in the biotech, one in agri-tech, and one in health tech, and you are working in making some design product, then definitely that's not their key thrust area. So you have missed that 3 options of it. It is your research work that should be mandated for it. Okay. Thank you.
Snehanshu sir, you want to add anything? Again?
The
I
second
think
point which the gentleman raised, and I would thank you for raising this point also. Maybe you were not aware of the portfolio page, that there's a gap of 50 lakhs which the government has kept, and the incubators offer 10-15 lakhs. See, the corpus is of up to 50 lakhs and up to 20 lakhs, and incubators are the experts in this sector. They have been entitled with the responsibility of deciding how much money with what they want to support you as a startup, and what they feel might be relevant to you. What your ask is definitely your requirement, but where they feel what your requirement would suffice with, they improve that corpus. So have faith in the system and with the incubators ISMC committee, and I think you would be good to go in that case. Thank you.
yes. Thank you, Snehanshu sir. So yeah, Chidam is asking what would be the time required to get a decision for an application?
45 days to be very precise.
Yeah.
Today, if you apply your application, exactly after 45 days, on the 46th day, the results will be out on the portal for any startup application.
Yes. And he's telling he's already incubated at the incubation center. Does the incubation center must be registered with the Startup India for supporting us for the seed scheme?
So incubators are selected under Startup India or rejected under Startup India. So the portfolio page I shared with you, these are a list of 219 incubators that have been approved and selected. You can select any incubator within this list. So that is the list you need to target for seed fund scheme. And as Mrudang sir has already shared other options, other funding schemes, you can feel free to apply to them as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we have answered almost all the questions here. That's all for today. Thank you, participants, for all your questions. So, still, if I have missed any questions and due to time constraint, also I'm unable to take all questions. But I hope I have covered all the questions. Still, if you have any questions regarding the today's session, you can contact the speakers. So that speaker details are given in the chat box. You can contact them. They are going to help you. And if you missed any part of today's webinar, and if you would like to read some of the key insights of the today's webinar, the YouTube link to watch the full chat box, you can watch it, and also to stay updated on the upcoming events, programs, and exciting opportunities from the manage, be sure to follow. And along with this, I have some exciting update from the manage. So we registration now open for the manage Agri Eureka. So actually many of them asked how to pitch their idea, how to present their idea. So the participants, you can apply for this, and the last date for the registration is 10th June. Along with this also, we have cohort 13 applications are open. So interested students, agripreneurs, and startups across India, if you have an innovative idea, just go and apply for this. And last date for the application is June 15th. And before concluding the session, I would like to express my gratitude to both the speakers for sharing your valuable insights today. And also thank you, participants, for all your questions. And also I would like to thank our director, Dr. Saravnan Raj sir, for making this 244 weekly webinars journey possible. And also my thanks also go to the entire Manacia team for your efforts in organizing today's webinar. Finally, don't forget to share your feedback of this today's session. The feedback link is given in the group, and also do register for the upcoming webinar. See you next week with another exciting topic. Until then, please take care. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Rudang sir and Snehan sir.
Thank
sir.
you to the entire team, managed team, and Mrudang sir for taking out time, and to the fellow startups also. The more you ask questions, the better it is. See, no scheme, no department, nothing is perfect. We are all in the way of making it better and better and improving. And we are trying our best. Support us with the same. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrudang sir and Snehans, and it was very good listening both of you. It is interesting, very useful also for a lot of the startups. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrudang sir, you are mute. Please
Yes,
unmute.
he's
Okay. Thank you, sir, for joining this session. Mostly, The sessions which I joined, directors and CEOs refrain from joining it, but I always been welcome those who join it actually. I really mean it when I say this, because you have been a core part of this incubation center. Your decisions are mostly mandated. So definitely, I honor of your joining this webinar. And you, as mentioned, 249 or 248 webinar series which you have done it. That's a commendable number. And indeed, we are honored to be the part of this managed group. Thank you so much.
It's great to listen both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.